Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to focus on the 1960s as my collecting journey has expanded in the last few years, especially mostly due to all the YouTube content I've been able to find and enjoy, and the Facebook groups where I've seen a lot of chatter and share as well. I've discovered there's a lot more outside of what I thought was available in the world. So I'm going to start off and kind of just walk through some of the 60s items. So I'm not going to do a deep dive on any particular set, but I just want to kind of get this out there for me, just seeing it and exposing myself to the content that was there and the items that were out there that I had no idea of. So you take a look at a 60 tops, which, if you're into collecting and you like 60s, you're going to know a 60 tops Koufax. But I did not know a Bell brand was out there. It's a little, regional subset. And then also, I'm going to say this is one of my favorite cards. I absolutely love that image with the stadium in the background. It's a 1960 Morel Meets. That gets really, really expensive in high grades, at least in what I consider expensive. So I took that one at a fair, but that is just one of my favorite. I didn't even know what size that was. I didn't do enough research on it. I just saw that image and I was like, I want that. So when I saw one pop up and it was reasonable, I said, let's do that. I was kind of expecting to be bigger, more like an oversized postcard. I don't know why. I guess normally I do a lot of research and I know if I'm getting a stamp or something jumbo, but in that case, I really didn't even know. So I was pleasantly surprised it was more of a normal card size. But those are some 60s alternatives. 61. So I kept the prices on these because I bought them both from my local card shop. So shout out to Kevin yet again. And the reason I wanted to keep the price on there was it gives you a point of reference as to where at least negotiations started. So with Yogi, 61 tops, really cool image. Again, stadium in the background. I love those images. So 61 tops is good. Started that at 20 bucks. His post, which is not exactly scarce or unknown, but it is a good alternative. I still love the image, and the negotiation started at 5. These are all pretty much hand cut. There's some perforated ones from these years too. Some have advertising on the back in different years. Some are just blank backs. I think most are blank backs. But I mean, take like $5 and that's where negotiation started. That's a heck of a deal. Do love that image. Catcher's catching is just good for me. And I was by no means a catcher. I was a second baseman, so it's not a me bias. I just think they're cool. 61. And do these chronologically because I like order and sequence. So 61 tops. I actually have a nice Koufax for that year. I think 4 is a good looking version. And I have a Bell brand. One of the things I like about these regional versions too, it's not just that you don't see them all the time. To me, there's kind of like that shock of like, that's different, that's unique. I think that's cool. The pops obviously are going to be way, way lower. But it's the chance to pick up just an image that's so different. They're both kind of him in a different stage or phase of pitching. To me, it looks like he's probably ready to field there, and he's kind of looking in maybe to get an idea of what he's going to be throwing to the batter in that one. But I just like the variance, the ability to get kind of a unique image of a player you enjoy. So let's just go ahead and keep up the Sandy Koufax love here, and then we'll move on from him. But 62 tops, I have that one as an ungraded. Then I've got the 62 Bell brand, which, if I recall, I haven't researched those in a while because I bought those more than a few minutes ago. I think that's the whole run. I think Bell brand, you get 60, 61, 62, and then pulling in another post. So tops, pretty standard. We've all seen that. The Bell brand, again, cool image, something a little bit more unique. Colors are really nice too, and you get the little autograph on there. And then post, that one got a grade. I actually want to share that one just because you see sometimes they talk about how much of like the border is included. So even though it's cut in a weird way and you got that extra little chunk in the bottom left there and whatnot, to me it doesn't even look quite as clean as the Yogi, but the Yogi will get an authentic and this one will get a 1, which a 1 is considered to be the superior to authentic, but I don't think it is. I just like the fact the write-ups are usually really cool on these, and then you get another unique image. Yogi was catching, and a nice little profile portrait type picture of Koufax there. 62 will stay there for a minute. I do not have a lot of these, so this is getting into Clemente collector realm. 62 tops standard. I need to get that one. I like that image a lot. I feel like Clemente's pictures are always good, but I only have one of these of him. So if you're not familiar with the con sets, again, not deep diving, but they're typically oversized. A lot of them have been cut in weird ways, so you will find a lot of them are really low grade or ungradable. A lot of folks were cutting off the bottoms because they wanted it just as a picture, which is obviously kind of not getting the true essence of the actual item. But the various years, most years are available. So you can find a year you like the image the best. I think the images are always really cool. So every year has a different image. The back write-up, a lot of them, one of the nice things is you don't just get a blank back. You get sometimes a little bit of a blurb, a biography type thing. You get a lot of statistics on kind of who they are, little blurb on maybe when they won a batting title or any kind of significant items, some stats, a little bit of just write up on who they are, what position they play, year born, all that good stuff. But those are interesting too because certain years are just more scarce. So it's not like a traditional like Topps collection where other than a high number or something unique, you just kind of go in order and say, you know, every single year becomes slightly more affordable and, you know, the rookie card starts off the most. With these little subsets and regional issues, sometimes you'll just find like, you know, 64 for whatever reason, there's only 4 of them, and, you know, 58, there's 200 of them. So sometimes the pricing is not anywhere near sequential on the player's career. So do your due diligence. If you see a 65 selling for way more than a 64, it doesn't necessarily mean a seller trying to get one over on you. It might be that the pop is just impossible, you know, completely rare compared to the other one. All right, 63. I don't know. I got nothing scarce in 63. What's going on with me? So I gotta work on that. If you're watching this and you know of something scarce in 63, a nice alternative set, other than obviously cons I can invest in and pick up a 63 of somebody, but look at those. They're all ungraded. 64 Topps-ish Tommy John. So the fronts all pretty much look the same. I've got 2 that are nice, bright and vibrant, and then I've got this thing that's a little more worn. I don't know if that was in someone's back pocket. Actually, I do know the story, because if you flip them around and you see you've got those 2 that are your traditional Topps, and especially in ungraded, you're talking $5-10 for a guy that revolutionized the game via surgery, and then a guy that really should be in the Hall of Fame with 280 plus wins. But when you flip it around, now you start to see a difference. So this one is the first of a few that I'll be sharing. That's a Venezuelan. So the nice thing of, again, you talk about like scarcity, and some of these I've shown, you know, the postcards are actually less expensive than their Topps alternatives. But in this case, the Venezuelans are so much more scarce. That's on a list of cards I would decide to go ahead and get graded, just because I want to see exactly where it would score. I want to preserve it, and because the population is so low, the value of that, you know, probably is more like a 3-figure rather than a $5 to $10 kind of item. So as I look through my collection, I always say be careful. You know, don't just grab your 3 Tommy Johns and say they're $10 each and $30 for the group, because it could be a couple that are $5 to $10 and one that's $100 that looks probably worse. Also in 64, again, not super scarce. What's up with that with Ernie? My golly, I need a new Ernie. Whew. That's a $3 filler box right there. But I got the card. So I have Ernie's whole run. But as having the whole run, I could either invest in a much prettier, sharper 64, which I should. They're not a real expensive card. But I do enjoy, I think, of the 64s, that is one of the prettier poses. The colors are just so gosh darn vibrant. And it's almost like you have, to me, I always think it's like fake grass, fake sun in the background, just because it's such a glaringly bright green and yellow. So it almost feels baseball fieldish, but it's clearly just the most fake color in the world. Brooks, I've got a little bit better example of his. And then I also have a stand-up of him. So with these, I always feel like the alternatives, they catch my eye typically just because they're so much more scarce, and it's just something you haven't seen. But I think these poses are just fantastic. The colors are ridiculously great. Love those. So I've only got the two. I just thought I'd share my entire top stand-up collection. There is Aaron, there is Mays, you get Clemente. So you can get some really, really, inner circle Hall of Famers. I feel like those guys are probably should be considered inner circle, but I feel like they're just that slight, they're 1A instead of 1. But both of those are really, really affordable. They're more than tops. So in that case, you do pay a little bit of a premium. There's a lot of them that have been popped out and actually kind of used as intended. So kids were making use of those. So you do get a lot that are very, very low grade, and you get some that are extremely, extremely high grade as well. I've seen 7s and 8s and things like that for 60s, which is great, just not where I would pay a huge premium. I think my grades of 4s and things like that are pretty solid. 66, I will share kind of the same idea. So Jim Palmer rookie, fantastic. I got it as a 5. That's not bad. It's a nice looking card as a 5 for sure. And then we got this beat up back pocket version, which maybe this is a good chance to kind of just differentiate. So when you see them up close, grade doesn't matter. The tops one is over here. It's bright, it's shiny, it's crisp, it has a little more of like a gloss to it, and I don't know that I ever consider like a 60s Topps card glossy, but when you see it up against the Venezuelan, that thing almost looks like it's just printed on storage box container. It's like one of these things. It's rough. There's like no shine to that thing, and probably never really was. Their quality control was worse, and a lot of folks were putting these into albums, which was kind of how they were encouraged to collect, I believe. So you'll see a lot of the back damage to these. They are very, very rough, and even in this condition, Venezuelan, higher price than Topps. It's scarcity. I'm not sure what the ratio to these are. Many of them are 20 to 1, 40 to 1, 50 to 1. You take a look at the pop reports and you see hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, and then you see like dozens. So the scarcity of it is what makes it significant. But when you look at them side to side, you do notice some differences. Obviously, size-wise, pretty much the same thing. Probably intended to be the same thing. Quality control on the Venezuelans was fairly terrible. To find one of those in high grade is not easy. In fact, I'm going to share my highest grade, and it's the only one I'm going to put up next that's not compared to a version next to it. I also just missed 65. So anybody has a 65, please share. 67, I think I do have some Venezuelans of different people, but I wanted to share this kind of cool subset, which I'll dive into more in future videos. But the Retirado, and I've probably shared a couple of these on other videos as well. Cool subset because you're able to get some retired players. Nap Lashwee, Walter Johnson. There's some big ones I don't have. Ted Williams, Satchel Paige, Jackie Robinson, Babe Ruth. So there's some really, really big hitters in the set that are multiple thousands. This one is a 4. Is probably the highest grade I have from that set because, again, you're talking about Venezuelans. So neat backs to these. I would read that to you if I understood what it said. But being all Spanish, I can't. A clean back on these, again, just like the Jim Palmer. most of them were either written on or put into a binder. In fact, they used to give books for you to glue them into, so most of them have destroyed backs, crisp corners. They really, I mean, even look how they did his name. For me, that's one of the worst cards of the set, because they put his name like right in his head. Like, that's insane. So some of these are better. I'm still hunting for a Bill Dickey and a Yogi Berra from that set. So if you got a Yogi and you want to pass that over, I'll take it. 68. Let's keep the party rolling here. So a couple different options I'm going to throw at you here. And 68 I love. That's why I actually have 4 stands up here. So 68 normal tops. We all like Willie. Oh my gosh. All right. Kid humor in the YouTube community. Have at it. That's terrible. So we all appreciate Willie Mays' career. Let's go that as a revised. I will not edit that, so have fun with that. So 68 tops, and then you have the 68. It's a game card home run. And again, I left the price on there. It's pretty clean. Guys asking $10. I probably got it for like 7. I mean, a 1968 Willie Mays, blah, blah, blah. Don't care what it says after that for $7. Like, taking that home, no doubt. So that's an easy choice. 68's another cool thing about the 60s is these are players that a lot of us would have seen growing up playing. It's almost like the crossover between my dad's generation, Willie Mays, he might have gone to the park and seen, and then guys that I would have seen growing up, either at the ballpark or on TV at the very least. So Steve Carlton, 1968 tops. I tend to not get these graded because that's a $10, $12, $15 card, something like that. And to me, I'm not going to spend $15 to grade a $15 card. What I'd rather do, because this guy is recent, famous, still alive, but obviously in the last 20 years probably was thriving in his retirement, went out and he did a lot of signing. So while it's not a different set, it's a different way to collect. So I really, really enjoy some of the players that are, within my lifetime playing, getting a signed version. That one's authenticated. It gets a 10. I never care about autograph grade, especially some of the older ones when you see them, smeared. But if it's signed by somebody that passed away in the 50s or 60s, like, they didn't have Sharpies, and if they do, it's fake, so don't do that. But you see something like this, like, that's a nice clean card. I don't care about the card grade at that point, and I don't really care about the autograph grade, but that's cool. That's a good image of him. Entire card is clean, but the autograph itself that's why you're buying that thing. So that came in really, really nice. I like that. So there's my 68 Carlton. Only got 4 more to show, but not 4 cards, 4 players. So 68, to me, I always call it the rainbow. There's some options here. So you've got your standard tops, which for me, that's a big guy, the Nolan rookie. And then this one, I've shared it in a different video because I sent it in, and I was fearful it was not real until I learned about Milton Bradley. So the Milton Bradley set, a few telltale signs that it's Milton Bradley, and really it's the reason I thought it was fake. Look at that white line on the bottom. I thought for sure, I'm like, good Lord. I bought this on eBay 15 years ago. I thought it was my only real Nolan Ryan rookie at the time. I added the other one after this, and I added that one, honestly, because I thought this one might not be legit. I was a little stressed, and it was raw. I thought it was going to score way worse than a 3.5 from SGC, so I was super pleased with that as well. But you take a look at this card, and you see that, and there's a couple other little telltale signs, some markings, sometimes in the writing, some variance in the brightness. So take a look at the yellow of that. And I'll be honest, when someone say, like, is it more of a banana yellow or more of a dull or a bright, or, I'm like, good Lord, what are you saying to me? I don't even, like, when you see one by itself, I have no idea what you're doing. They both say print in the USA. They don't look significantly different, other than I thought this one looked fake. So that's my deep dive on Milton Bradley. But the other weird thing I will say, and I'm going to be a Milton Bradley advocate, Milton Bradley card advocate, that is. The population of those is so much lower, but the price premium is not significant. So if you're taking a look at a way to get something that's a little more unicorn without paying unicorn prices, check out Milton Bradley's, especially in 68. So with that in mind, I'm going to share Mr. Rod Carew. There's his tops and his Milton Bradley. But when you go 68, you have a lot of choices. You can also go O-Pee-Chee. And for those that really want the exotic, there are Venezuelans. So I always kind of joke, because I don't understand modern cards all that well. I call that the 1968 rainbow. That's kind of the 4 variations you can get. They all look the same-ish. Tops is obviously your most affordable, and crazy I have all these in like the same realm of grade. But your 68 tops is definitely your most affordable option. Your Milton Bradley really isn't much of a premium, a little bit. O-Pee-Chee definitely sells for more, and your Venezuelan's kind of off the charts comparably. I mean, it's usually those are 5 to 10 times multiples, but cool variances even when you flip them over. You know, that one's going to say it's printed in Canada. O-Pee-Chees are interesting because some years you end up getting French, other years, other than saying printed in Canada. And as you can see here, where's my back collectors at? I feel like back collectors are almost nobody, unless you're a T206 guy. But when you take a look at the backs and the color variations, there is your rainbow. Venezuelan looks aged and beaten. Your O-Pee-Chee looks, I don't know, faded. And then you can actually see a much better difference between the tops and the Milton Bradley, I think, here. So kind of cool to see one of the telltale signs of what makes it different. Other than that, a lot of times you won't see a huge difference. And in fact, some years, again, kind of like the O-Pee-Chee, sometimes you deal with a Venezuelan, it's legit Venezuelan, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's in English. So sometimes, even, you know, the telltale, is it in Spanish, is it in French, doesn't hold true on these. But that's the Rod Carew rainbow. I have almost a double rainbow of the next player, and I want to share these just because I think those 2 cards, for me growing up, the rookies were off the table completely. So these were the way to get, you know, the rookie cup, the trophy cards. But same thing, when you get the nice high grade tops and you say, well, that's cool, but what else is there? You pick up a Milton Bradley, you snag an O-Pee-Chee, and then you go Venezuelan. So I have 2 Venezuelans, I think I have 2 O-Pee-Chees, and I have 2 or 3 tops. I think I'm missing a second Milton Bradley, and I'd be able to actually do Tom Seaver's run twice, double rainbow. But again, I'm not going to show you the back of every card when I do a video, but I think for these it's really, really cool to see just the color variance, some of the differences on these. So definitely somewhat dull. That looks to me intentionally a different color. It's almost like they didn't try to make it the same yellowy look. And then these 2, I will always say, like, sometimes I can tell significantly a difference, and other times like, they're closer than I would have guessed. I fear buying a Milton Bradley that's not graded, because I feel like there's folks out there that aren't as expert as they want to be and will list it as a Milton Bradley when it turns out not to be, and I don't want to be stuck with trying to negotiate how to that, you know, kind of make that right back and forth. Last one, I will wrap this up. This is a really long video, and I didn't mean for it to be, so I hope anyone that finds this along the way fights with me to the end and sees the entire run of my 60s. because I do think there's some fun stuff to share. 69 bench, kind of the same idea as the Carew and Seaver, just phenomenal card. I think I got a really nice 1.5. That's my value vintage in action right there completely. But the 69 Topps is such a cool looking card. Again, Catcher's Catching is just a cool image. So then how do you make that a more unique, more rare, more unicorn kind of card? Grab a offshoot. Grab the O-Peachy version. So if we take a look at the backs of these two, now you do see definitely a significant difference in color. Take a look at all of that, all the details. Here's why it's a 1.5. Love that for a 1.5. That's why the front does not look like a 1.5. Good find, Aaron. Then you take a look at this. Definitely clearly says O-Peachy on it. Color is significantly different, right? But other than that, it's pretty similar. Just get more of a unicorn. Good value BVG holder. But yeah, definitely just a rare way to do things. So that is my 1960s run of kind of alternative sets that you can consider. I will do the same thing for the 50s, the 70s, and maybe even the 30s. Some fun eras to take a look at and see what else is out there besides your Topps, Fleer, Bowman, and kind of standard card issues. So hopefully that was fun, and I will catch you all on the next one where I will probably deep dive into the 70s. So thanks for watching. See you next time.